Next up, here, Ryan Frank. Here. And we have a new alternate plan commissioner, David Rashka, who's not here this evening, excused. So 7 present, 2 excused, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes of the June 26th meeting.
Move to approve?
Second.
We have a motion second. Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll move on to item 3. Application for a special use permitted for Anytime Fitness. Katie, Steve?
Sure, yeah. Katie's got this one.
You're ahead of me here.
We're firing up the staff report here, so.
All right, so the first item is Anytime Fitness in Lincoln Plaza. They will be taking up 3 of the tenant spaces in that plaza. Anytime Fitness is a 24-hour gym. They indicated that they would have 600 to 800 members with an average of 10 to 15 members per hour, and peak hours being between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. and 9 p.m. This plaza is zoned C4, and athletic clubs are a special use in that district, and there is a public hearing scheduled at the August 6th Common Council meeting. Just to give you an idea, this is the areas in the plaza that they'll be taking up in between the Health Hut and the, I believe, Thai restaurant. Just for your information, looking at the interior plan, they have an open concept area for all their equipment, and then a lobby, an office space, a trainer room, a tanning room, and then some restrooms with showers. There's already an existing site landscape plan on file. The plaza is generally kept up pretty well. The landscaping looks nice. We don't have any concerns or feel the need to require additional plans on top of what's already happening. And the parking requirements are sufficient with the current zoning. So staff recommends approval of the special use for Anytime Fitness.
Are we taking 2 and 3 together, Katie?
Oh, item 2 is just a welcome to.
I'm sorry.
If you were here tonight, but he's not here.
I meant to ask, are we taking, well, that's what I meant to ask.
Oh, it's just.
So we're just doing the special use and not doing it in conjunction with an SLA because there's already an approved plan on file and it's sufficient as
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve staff recommendations.
I'll second.
We have a motion second. Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. On to number 4. The special use permit for proposed daycare.
All right, what we have is proposed daycare center for Future Scholar Christian Academy, LLC. What they'll be doing, daycare activities for educational activities, 4 weeks to 13 years old for approximately 60 to 70 children. And it's going to cover parents who will be working first, second, and third shifts, so 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, closed major holidays, and 1 week for annual training. The staffing will consist of 10 full-time and 3 part-time employees per shift. At this location in the past, several daycare centers have been operating out of there. The last was in 2012, and it is on C2. It's kind of a breakdown of modes of transportation to the daycare. Parent personal vehicle comprised 40%. Daycare center transport service will be 30%. Walk-in 20%, and school bus will be 10%. These are kind of some of the conditions that are present at this property. Missing sections of the decorative fencing, exterior doors and railings are kind of need to be, and they're in disrepair. Landscaping missing or overgrown. Water and stains on the exterior. The foundation, the stone planters that are out front of the building, they're kind of damaged. Pieces are missing. There's a retaining wall back there by the refuse collection that's damaged as well, and just chipped paint on the exterior, just kind of, because it's been vacant, has been a daycare operating there for a while, so it's just kind of needs to have a little touch up there on the building. This is kind of what the landscaping plan from 2012, what was proposed, or what was approved for this location. And as you can see, it's just kind of a fisheye view of like the backside here of it. You have the that's going to be a three-car garage there. There's the retaining wall that I was talking about with the planters there. Also, this is going to be the playground area. I talked to the property manager and the business owner. They will be utilizing this area. This will be cleaned up. They're going to have toys out there for the kids, like basketball, apparatus, various toys for the kids to play with and whatnot in this area. And this is kind of an overview of, as you can see up at the top there along Beecher Street, that's going to be a drop off and pick up curbside. Kids are dropped off, they'll go in through the main entrance back there to the daycare. As you can see, there's an outdoor playground area, the parking zone back there in the back, and the refuse collection right down there at the bottom. All right, staff recommends approval, subject to the following conditions. We're gonna be looking to get some updated plans to kind of show what they plan on doing as far as repair work to the building. A new site, landscape and playground elements to be included on the revised plans. A date for implementing these improvements. A little bit more detail about the drop-off and pick-up areas. What else? Oh, on the plan to show about the refuse enclosure. Right now, it has 3 sides, but we're looking to have a gate put on the front there. Updated lighting plans and a parking schedule, and the rest is what's common to the rest of our approvals. And that is it. Yes, sir.
I have a question,
Mhm.
actually two.
Mhm.
They're gonna be putting that playground, is that fencing, I mean, they're gonna make sure that that's correct size, the height, right?
Yes,
That
it's gonna
didn't
be,
look too high.
it's gonna be, the fencing is gonna be 4 feet. As it is now. Right now, there's a section that's off to the side, it's approximately 4 feet tall, and they're gonna take it from, so right here, they have that one section of fencing, they're gonna take and bring in some more sections and join it with the existing fencing right here to create one continuous, length of fencing.
I'm just, because I had kids 100 years ago, and I'm just saying kids will climb anything, and that is a very busy street. Beecher is extremely busy right there. And that was one. And the other one is, I didn't see in the report anything about the apartments. Are people living there? And what's the deal with them?
As of right now, I think no one is living in the apartments, correct?
No, we're gonna get them ready. It's a two bedrooms and a 1 bedroom, and then they have their own private separate entrance. And so they won't conflict.
And the parking then, for the, I seen there's 5 parking spots, is that right for the tenants?
No, we were gonna designate most of that for the daycare. We might offer to rent a stall for, or two for tenants, or possibly like a garage stall. But that might not be included, depending on, you know, how much parking we need for the daycare.
Okay, thank you.
Since the applicant has quite a bit of information still to provide, what's the expected timing to have that information?
Well, they'll need, in order to get occupancy and, or building permits to do any of the work, they're gonna have to get these things satisfied. They'll have to provide a revised plan. They're gonna be working with an architect to get the plans updated according to the Plan Commission staff recommendation here. So before it can ever open its doors, they've gotta have our conditions satisfied as well as any building code, building inspections, items taken care of.
That's a good question about parking, though. I mean, how much staff is there? Is there even gonna be enough parking for staff?
Like our staff currently use sometimes orange off-street parking. So, and they could always park on 76 Beecher. It is a daycare over there who use off-street parking as well.
Okay. Do you guys think there's adequate space to?
There should be, and then there's 3 parking stalls or parking in the garage
Right.
that we can kind of use for if they need a, you know, do a drop off or a van or somebody, just to kind of add as extra parking too. If we,
Just know in winter, you know, off-street parking can get work.
yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
Relying on West Allis.
Yeah, right. I mean, it is a good question. And historically, this site has only had the number of parking stalls it has right now. Before it was a daycare, it was a funeral home, and it's never had more parking, never had less parking. It's always relied on the street and the little bit of off-street parking that's available to it. So, you know, as a funeral home, I would say that's a pretty intensive use. Not sure how that worked, but I mean, obviously people parked in the street and maybe a few people parked off-street. So as a daycare, you know, there's a lot of transition. People come to drop off their children, come to pick them up. They're there for a short window to get them out of the car and then to put them back in, and then they're gone, so.
Is there a motion to approve 4A and 4B?
Move for approval.
We have a motion, we have a second?
Second.
We have a second, discussion? Further discussion? There being none, those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 5 is site landscaping and architectural plans for property at 3411 South 108th Street.
Thank you, Wayne. So no one's here for this tonight, but the property owner, Billy Affel, has owned this property for a few years now. And this is essentially an attempt to get the building back into shape. He had approval from the Plan Commission back in 2016 to do essentially the same thing. Unfortunately, he was marketing it for a restaurant. Unfortunately, he didn't have a restaurant tenant interested in the site. Construction stalled, his building permits lapsed, and right now, as it sits, the building,
Excuse me, just one.
Yes.
Katie, would you just check to make sure that door is open?
oh yeah. Yeah, it's an
Somebody-
open meeting, so we have to,
Thank you.
thank you, Wayne.
Sorry.
So as the building currently sits, it's vacant, it's a former Double Dragon restaurant, and the previous building permit, which was issued, is lapsed. The building inspection department has since issued a raise order for the building to basically demo it. The contractor that was hired by the property owner was apparently, their method of construction wasn't very good, and some of the new walls that were added are not structurally sound, and that's the reason for the raise order. The property owner does still have the ability to repair what's been, what's there, and remedy the situation, or if they do nothing, it gets demolished. So, those are the two options before the property owner. The property owner is choosing to repair the building, and whether that means removing the walls and reusing the foundation or repairing the work that's already been done. And we have a few pictures here which may be hard to see, but behind those boarded up windows are actually brand new windows. So there are brand new storefront windows on this building. And there's been some new walls added. The walls are structurally compromised, just the method of construction used by the contractor wasn't very good. So building inspections called that off, and the owner's gonna hopefully remedy that and get the building back online again for a viable tenant that conforms to the zoning. In terms of the site plan, this is the same site plan that Plan Commission approved back in 2016. Just to recap, there's currently 2 driveways on South 108th Street, that's on the right side of your screen. And then on Wilmer Road, there are no driveways currently. So what's gonna happen here is that the northernmost driveway here will remain open. This driveway closest to the intersection of Wilmer will close. And there's gonna be a new 24-foot wide driveway opening on Wilmer Road. So you'll have access through this way. It's about 22 parking stalls. And this is the footprint of the building. The site plan shows a patio. If it were a restaurant, that'd probably be very desirable. If it's an office building or retail store, we'll see if that gets built. But so we're asking for a little flexibility in the site planning, but what you see here is probably about a good 90% plan of what we would expect to get built with perimeter landscaping, corner landscaping, removal of the existing pole sign, installation of a new monument sign, and then repair of the building, and as well as the 2 new driveways and closure of the 3rd here. This is a look at the proposed renovations on the exterior of the building. Features brick base and then fiber cement trim siding, metal clad headers above the storefront window and entrances, and a vertical siding above the entrance. There's a little bit of articulation in the roof line. The old mansard roof, which was the double dragon, is gone. And this is the south elevation facing the intersection with Wilmer Road. And then the sides, the west elevation facing Wilmer Road, and the north elevation facing Wild Toyota. Again, the siding and the brick are carried around the entire 4 sides of the building. We're recommending approval. We're asking for a construction schedule. Driveway permits would be needed. With the closure of the driveway on Highway 100, that requires some state oversight from the Department of Transportation. We've got a clause in here about stormwater management, and then we're asking for a new landscape surety bond to guarantee the landscaping. And if nothing happens here, I've talked to the building inspections department, they're saying probably most likely by year end, if nothing happens, that there's already, the attorney's office is working on this, and the city would probably move forward with raising the building if nothing's going on by year end.
The owner understands that?
Yeah, the legal has been in touch with the owner, yeah.
And his opinion on this?
The legal opinion?
No, not his,
Oh.
the young man or whoever
Oh,
owns it.
well, I mean, his opinion is that
Is he excited
he
about
submit-
doing this, or is it just, well, I guess I'm gonna have to do this,
No,
or?
he owns it, he wants to get it to the property's for sale, but what he wants to do is get it into a position where it's at least more attractive and marketable. He's got brokers looking at it, marketing it, so once it's fixed up, it'll be a lot easier to sell than in its current condition. So that's the game plan for right now.
But it currently is operated as a limousine service.
No, it does not have an occupancy for a limousine service.
But it's operating as that, correct? I've
Yes.
seen limousines there
Yeah.
all
Just,
the time.
There
I
are-
think they just park there.
Yeah, there are limousines on that site. I know our building inspection department has orders for that to be removed. He would need an occupancy permit to run a limousine service from this property. There's one large limo parked here today, but it should not be there. It's not a storage facility. Storage facilities would be allowed in our manufacturing zoning districts, not in a commercial zoning district.
Tom, you have a question?
Yeah, what about the sign? Is that something to put in at this point or not?
Yeah, the sign's gonna go away as part of this whole thing. And if the plan commission, you know, one thing that's not in here, it was on the previous plan to remove that pole sign with the development of this, but I guess it's gonna go away regardless, soon. If he does nothing, that sign goes away with the building. If he builds and renovates this, that sign's gonna go away. We're not gonna allow him to repanel that or reuse that. It's part of our condition of the improvement here for that sign to be removed, and he's agreeing to do that. There's a note on here about a monument sign, so the pole sign's gone with this site plan that's
Is
being
there a
shown.
motion to approve?
I'm gonna make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? There being none, those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Number 6 is
Signage for the
a
west.
signage on National Avenue for the west.
Are you here for the west?
I am.
Okay. Hi, what's your name?
Melissa.
Hi, Melissa. Steve. So Melissa is with
Poblaki.
Poblaki Sign Company.
Yes.
This is the view of the west and from National Avenue. The area we're gonna be, where Poblaki is interested in installing signage, or where Mandel would like signage, is down in this corner, 6 Points Crossing and National Avenue. So this is all one building. It may look like 2 separate buildings, but it's a horseshoe-shaped building. The area of new signage is gonna be right here in this corner, the southeast corner. And this building is all connected with underground parking, so there's an entrance here, and the parking structure underneath the ground continues sort of one circuit throughout this whole thing here, so that's why it's considered one building. They're proposing 3 wall signs, a logo, and then individual letters, the west, on the southeast corner of the building. The total area is 112 square feet. And the signage ordinance will allow up to 400 square feet, but we feel that's excessive for this type of development. So we're recommending that Plan Commission cap the signage max at 200 square feet. And if they should ever need some more signage down the road, if they wanted to put in a monument sign or a sign on the side of this retaining wall that would indicate something like the west, it'd be within the capacity allowed by the Plan Commission in that 200 square feet, so.
Is there a motion to approve?
Yeah,
Motion.
I'll approve it.
We have a second?
Second.
Motion second. Further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed? Motion passes. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
Melissa.
much.
Now, Mr. Steve, you got a couple of items you wanted to give us a progress report on?
Yeah, Katie's gonna kick off,
Katie, please.
A.
Have Steve stop, you start.
Yeah.
Sure. So, just looking at 70th Street work that's going on, you may have seen the 1205 building has been, the lower photo shows that they have put some of those dark panels on that replaced what I think was previously a pinkish color maybe. And they do still have some additional work to do. You can see the canopy and the signage and the landscaping, but it is underway, and they're working on it. And then across the street at the former Allis Chalmers office building, they are still working on relocating the tenants that are in that building, but I believe they plan to have all of them out by the end of September so that they can start with the demolition of that building as soon as possible. And we actually have a meeting tomorrow with Cobalt. They said that they are interested in maybe presenting some new concept plans for the overall site development of that location that's different than what we've seen previously. So they will likely be coming before this body again to have those updated concept plans approved.
Thank you.
Item B is just a quick summary of where the Element 84 project's at. This is on 84th and Greenfield, and that within that redevelopment area, formerly the Milwaukee Gray Iron Factory, which decided to leave town, so we actively pursued purchasing the property and redeveloping it. So this is where it's at right now, these are views from 83rd and Orchard Street, from the back side of the building. This is the north building, which abuts the McDonald's and Walgreens site, and then the Hampton Inn and Suites Hotel. And then this other view is from 83rd Street looking north. That's the building that we just saw, which is at the four floors. This building has 2 more floors to go. Off the side here, there's an elevator shaft that's can accommodate the 2 additional floors. But excited to see this happen. They're going to be looking at, actually currently marketing these, but we expect the occupancy to take place probably first quarter of the 2020.
And I'm sorry, you said that the city owns them?
Not anymore. No, we
Oh.
sold it to Ogden. But
Okay.
initially, when it was the factory site, we had purchased that
Oh,
to
got it.
basically redevelop it. Yeah.
Is it all residential, or are there any retail or anything on the bottom?
There is a little bit of retail, and it's going to be on this, within this building here. There's about 3,000 square feet of retail, and that's
Okay.
going to face 84th Street. So one block over on the west side of this building will be a small, probably cafe or
Sweet.
retail use to support the residential in the area. These guys see.
So this one, station number 6 at 6800 West Beecher. The top photo on the right is the rendering, and the bottom is what's been done to date. It's really coming along quite quickly, and it looks really amazing. You can kind of see that on the left top photo. That's the new bar area that's been installed, so that wood paneling, the lighting, the bar, the brick wall are all new features. And it looks really nice. So I think he's moving along quickly, trying to get things done as soon as possible, and it's going to be a really nice addition to that neighborhood. So.
Thank you. The butcher shop?
Yep, and just a block over is the butcher shop, which is a slightly more intensive project here, but also it is under development. What you're seeing there is the firewall that was required as part of the development for expanding the building. So there will be obviously more building in front of that firewall. It's not what you'll see from the road. It just isn't built yet. So that's also coming along. I believe he's hoping to be operating by November. So I think they plan to get that construction going pretty quickly here. And yeah, it looks a little rough at the moment, but I think it will look really nice ultimately. So.
Thank you.
I should have put a picture of what was approved because it looks really nice.
Just an update. So Plan Commission, this is the 7127 existing tavern, Red, White, and Brews on National Avenue. And it was before Plan Commission last month. The Plan Commission recommended approval of the outdoor extension premise just on the front of the building, not behind the building. Plan Commission wanted more input from the neighborhood. And I think, everybody was just a little reluctant to approve that patio behind the building, given the concern from the neighborhood. And there was a petition that was circulated to Common Council. I forget how many residents, but there were a lot of residents in the immediate area that were very adamantly opposed to outdoor extension or outdoor anything behind the building. So council did approve and follow Plan Commission's lead. They approved the 3 tables out in front of the building, but they did not approve any outdoor area behind the building. So just an update on that. Those were the 2 areas. So just this front area with 3 tables, and he's got the tables out there right now. The mayor has signed the resolution, and he's working with the clerk's office to get his extension of premise out there. And I see today that he has a few tables out there, so everything's moving along in the front end. He's happy to have at least 3. So. And then F is the 68th and Mitchell redevelopment area. This is part of if you recall at the last council meeting last month, we had a presentation for UHS on the old Milwaukee ductile site at 1706 South 68th. Well, just north of here, there's the old Kearney Trekker building, a historic building, which is underneath all this metal siding. The city's evaluating different development proposals for this building, as well as for these sites immediately east. And this is just one possibility of what could be for the Kearney Trekker building. Uncovering all the metal siding, uncovering the brick and glass that's underneath. The glass would likely be completely redone, but in a historic character to pay respect to the original construction of the building. Within, there could be large event spaces and different attractions to create a buzz within the neighborhood and draw people here, as well as keep people here a little bit longer. If you're shopping in the area or you live in the area, it's just going to be a nice opportunity, the potential of what this could be to this side of town and for the city. We're working with different development proposals on that. With the UHS proposal, council did approve that special use. It's a 7.5 acre property. It's got sort of an industrial heritage, heavy manufacturing. The Community Development Authority took ownership of that in 2016, and UHS stepped in, and they're interested. They made a proposal to purchase the property from the city, 120-bed behavioral health clinic and hospital. The special use delineated that it will not house or nor operate a psychiatric crisis emergency center, and it will be used for basically no other purpose than an acute behavioral health service building with some outpatient services. Site plan that was presented. So, and then the elevations. So it's going to be a big investment for the neighborhood, a big change as well. But we feel it's one that's going to be positive for the neighborhood and work right along with the other positive things happening in the area. So we're pleased, and we thank you for your service. Erin.
Can I ask a quick question? So I heard that there was a plan being created for the area by 108th Street in Greenfield with all the closed shops.
Yeah.
Is that going to come to the Plan Commission at all to see, or?
Yeah, well, there's gonna be, so, the city has hired, Gensler Design Group out of Chicago, they're a planning and design firm, and they're gonna be looking at the Highway 100 corridor.
Okay.
In its entirety, for the most part, so everything from the north city limits, the south, and sort of understanding the market, why things are changing, what's the retail market, is there a retail market, or is there something else out there that we're not seeing yet that's emerging? And it's probably a little bit of everything, so,
Do we have a timeline on that?
I know they're currently, they've been hired and contracted, and we're working with them on the scope of, what's the next step, in the deliverables. Katie, I don't recall offhand. I know it's gonna start, I don't have a copy of the timeline in front of me here, but
It
it's
is a
gonna start
pretty
soon.
quick timeline.
Yeah.
Oh.
They're really looking to get that report and that analysis done as soon as possible.
Okay.
And I know that as part of their proposal, they did have information about, public engagement and meeting with stakeholders. And I believe one of the stakeholder groups identified was the Plan Commission, if I'm not mistaken. Does that
Yep.
sound right to you?
Yep.
So at some point, you will probably be invited to some
Yeah.
sort of meeting to be included and get your perspective on key redevelopment sites and kind of your other thoughts. So.
Is there anything else to come before this meeting? There being none, thank everyone for their participation. We're adjourned. Good night.
Okay. Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you, Wayne.